Welcome to Atomicdieee's audiobook. Sit back and relax as you listen to the book A Weakness Called Love, The Memoirs of an African Housemaid, written by Glamty and narrated by Atomicdieee. Chapter 11. I continue to give Moody my unconditional love. I reserved a plate for him every day. When he was on the farm, I will take the food to him. I gave him attention whenever he needed it. I did not withhold my feelings. I loved him how I knew. He was starting to warm up to me. He seemed to genuinely enjoy our conversations. Still, I felt a pressure to impress him, but I did not want to scare him away. I was ready to change for him, to be the woman he wanted, but he did not want me to change. He had accepted me for who I am. I was dedicated to our love. Today I stood outside his house while Shatu went to call him. When he came, she went back home. I asked that we should take a walk together side by side, feeling his presence, feeling him watch me as my heart jumped out of joy. He accepted without scuffle. We walked together side by side. All the while we talked. He seemed to be in a sore mood. He refused to tell me why, and I did not pressure him. I decided to enjoy his presence and the pleasure it brings. We walked in a slow pace as we treaded the soft soil. I stole glances at him. Beside me was the love of my life. The breeze was blowing softly upon my face. I closed my eyes and engulfed the pleasant, earthy smell of sand. I opened my eyes and saw him gazing at me intently. "It must be raining somewhere," I commented. "Yes," he replied. I swirled around and sang a song each kid in the village was accustomed to. It was like a rite of passage. "Oh God, bestow rain upon us." He just laughed. He even chuckled, and God, he was intoxicating. We made our way back. As soon as we were back, Moody did something that got me worried. He walked past me, never turning back as if he did not know me. I swallowed and made my way home. I was greeted by a small crowd of people. I made my way to see what was going on. It was Tale. She was being taken to the hospital. It is indeed a momentous day in our village. Women don't deliver in the hospitals. Kande, the village midwife, was always summoned. The last child that was delivered in a hospital was nicknamed Likita, meaning doctor. 7-year-old Likita also watched curiously. Tale is the second wife of my cousin Megida Suli, first son of Hafizu, my uncle. As such, we live in the same compound. There were currently 2 pregnant women in my house, Asabe and Tale. Today, Tale is going to be a happy mother by God's grace. Pregnant Asabe had been working painstakingly hard. She was a washerwoman. She makes tofu and lets her young daughter sell it. She roasts and sells peanut. She makes pure groundnut oil and groundnut cake. She makes shea butter oil. In the evenings, she sells fried beans cake, all of which she sells and saves the money. She never heed warnings from people for her to slow down. How could she? There was too much at stake. The last time she was pregnant, she did not work half as hard. If history had taught her anything, it will be never to depend on a man for all your needs. The last naming ceremony was a disaster. She had promised never to endure that sort of humiliation ever again. There was barely anything to eat. No ram was slaughtered. Her son had to live with that shame, the shame of a child who was not named with a ram. While Asabe's biggest concern was the naming ceremony, Yarinya's concern was a different one. Her co-wife was pregnant. Yarinya is the first wife of Megida Suli. Now more than ever, Yarinya was nervous and apprehensive. The new wife, Tale, was pregnant. It was bad news. Yarinya had always given him female children. The last was the 3rd in a row. He wanted male hairs, not the weak females Yarinya gave him. He refused to even carry the poor child. His mother asked, "What is it this time? A female?" "A female," Asabe said. "I am not surprised. It is her family's tradition after all," the mother-in-law said with distaste. What will become of her if the new wife bore him a male child? Already her marriage has been reduced to nothing but shambles. The new wife, Tale, had been demonstrating signs of carrying a male offspring. She had an exceptional appetite and insists on eating a lot of meat. She will not sweep and blames it on the male child. She found new admiration in hers. She wanted softer mattress and the husband bought her a brand new one. He concedes to all her demands. After all, they were not hers. They were his male child's wishes. While Yarinya was reduced to her maid, she cooks for her. Tale complains about the cooking but never fails to devour it. She will come out of her room and praise herself. "It is me, Tale, the mother of a man, a woman from a lineage of great men, who produces great men. When people fail to honor, I rush to save all with a befitting hair." When she stumbles, she says, "Careful, mother of men. The female delivering machine is casting you an evil eye," in a bold, loud voice. People in the compound usually burst into laughter whenever she says such things. Yarinya never finds it funny. She will retreat to her room. Then Tale started complaining of mysterious pains. Megida Sule had a bright idea. He said he will take her to the hospital. The child needed special attention. The hospital is far away from the village. Nobody visits it except the wealthy in extreme circumstances. He was ready to spend a fortune on the future mother of his sons. Megidasule is affluent. He even owned his own personal motorcycle. He took her to the hospital. The doctor said she was fine. She kept visiting the hospital while Megidasule accompanied her. In one of the visits, the doctor mentioned a very awe-striking procedure. It was called scanning. It can detect the sex of child before birth. Megidasule was excited about this advanced procedure and wanted it. The day of the procedure came. It was like she was going to be operated on. People came to wish her good luck. Some prayed for her so that she may survive the complicated procedure. Unfortunately, that very day Megidasule could not make it. There was an emergency. He had to go to town to buy fertilizer. He wanted to postpone his trip, but his brother insisted he takes the trip and that he will take care of Tele. Reluctantly, he went to town. His brother and some women accompanied her that fateful day. At the hospital, the doctor told them they all had to wait outside. She was to go inside alone. They wished her well. They waited, rosary by hand, as they prayed for her. It was indeed an important event. To her surprise, the doctor just put a mysterious gel on her stomach and rubs a technology of wonder on her stomach. Then he said the words, the ghastly 3 words that almost gave her a heart attack. "It's a girl," he said. She was in shock, her eyes flooded with tears. This is something she had not expected. Her father was blessed with 40 children, among which 32 were all male. This cannot be happening to her. Disgusted, the doctor said, time to clear out the room. I have other patients to see. Take this. This is a picture of your daughter. Stressing the word daughter as he gives her a picture that was more like swirls of black and white. The picture was stapled to a white paper behind it. She collected the paper with trembling hands. She went out. All her escorts came rushing, seeing her crying. "Sorry," they all say with concern. One of them said, "It must have been painful." The other replied, "Any procedure that can detect the sex of the child before birth had to be painful. They will have to operate on her before they can see." "Yes, yes," they all say in unison. A woman among them held her, walked her to a seat and sat her down, while the men went to get a motorcycle ready for the journey back home. Tele did not say anything. Then one of them bravely asked, "So?" Tele replied, "They have confirmed it. It's a boy." She was home, happy sounds were being made. Megidasule was congratulated by all. It was time to see his wife. Upon entering her room, she said, "Good tidings, my love, father of my son." He just laughed a happy laugh. He jumped and embraced her tightly. "Mother of my son, you are indeed a blessing," he said. "Take a look at your son," she said, giving him the picture. The ignorant man looked at the inscriptions and said, "Indeed, it is written boldly. It surely is a boy." Tele became the object of her husband's love. She was a true queen. 2 well-fed rams were kept aside for the naming ceremony. Yarinya was in agony, though she was not allowed to show it. Any sign of sadness will make her look like a bad, mean monster. She had to be happy for her sister in marriage. In a matter as significant as this, any trifling woman jealously will not be entertained. She was expected to take care of her husband's most adored human. Tele, who was bearing a child of a superior sex. With much pain and emotional turmoil she did, yet you can see the sadness through it all. Therefore, Yarinya was not woman enough. People talked about her, saying, "Look how sad she is." Tele is now being rushed to the hospital, Megidasule by her side. She was taken into a labor room. No one was allowed in the labor room except the woman who is about to deliver. Her escorts waited anxiously outside the room for news. Inside the labor room, there were small hospital beds lined in 2 rows. The beds were covered with white, heavily stained bedsheets that were now soiled with blood once a woman delivers. She is immediately transferred to a ward. Next, the head nurse will shout and another woman will be brought in. The nurses will remove the sheets, revealing the mattress that had been sewn in black leather, and another woman will lie on the bed. Once she delivers, the previous soiled sheets will be used to wipe the bed, and the next woman will lie on the bed. There was no time to clean or disinfect. The great nurses do not have that time. The eminent nurses refuse to be demoted to cleaning. A woman in labor room was on the bed beside Tele. A nurse was aiding her. "Push," the nurse says. The woman tried and tried but failed. She started crying painfully. The livid, impulsive nurse slapped her on the face and shouts, "Shut up, lazy woman," and push. The other nurses chuckled. To them it was hilarious. Some jokes are not made for the common man. They remain the preserve of some distinguished people. This was one of those jokes. To a bystander it may look despicable, but to a well-skilled, educated, honorable, ethical nurse, it was a hilarious joke, because all of them were amused and they laughed. Tele was lucky she gave birth quickly, but to a girl. How will she face her husband? She was transferred to the ward. Megidasule was called, but not before Tele's aunt. She was the one who will take care of her. He was very excited. The elder aunt said to him, God's will can never be evaded. God has willed that it will be a girl. Take your daughter Atomicdieee and give thanks. God will surely reward you for your forbearance. No, he shouted, wide-eyed as if afflicted with insanity. They must have switched the child. I've seen and read it with my own eyes. Nobody will cheat me of my son. I will talk to the doctor at once. He fled. No, please no. It was Tele that now spoke in between sobs. Forgive me, husband, please. The doctor may have mentioned a possibility of having a girl, but I thought the test was inaccurate or that God will ordain a miracle and change her into a boy. How would I have guessed I will give birth to a girl while I came from a lineage that always produced men? So I kept quiet and prayed. I know you deserve a boy. That was why I expected the sex of the child will be changed. Please forgive me. I will give you a son next time. I promise, she said. He was quiet for a while. Realization of what had happened dawned on him. The aunt then said, Take her Atomicdieee. By the grace of God, you shall have your son next time. He just looked at them and fled. Only the sounds of his footsteps were heard. He settled the hospital bills and rode back home. The darkened expression he wore made everyone question him about what had happened. Asabe started crying and shouted, Oh my God, both mother and son are dead. May God have mercy on their souls. Those around had started giving their condolences when he spoke. It is a girl, he said. She knew it and lied all along, he concluded. It was Asabe that shouted again, They are not dead, it is a girl, she said, shaking her head sideways. The happiness of Yarinya was immeasurable. It was time to jubilate. She went to her husband and said, Dear husband, congratulations, in a sarcastic way. Atomicdieee could not look Yarinya in the eye. She visited Tele with potash gruel and said, Congratulations, sister. Here is a gruel befitting the mother of men. Tele did not say anything. Atomicdieee ignored his daughter and refused to even look at the child. Malam Saleh, the eldest in the family, came to talk to him. He was fed up with Atomicdieee's irritational behavior. He said, What nonsense is this, Suli? I thought you were better than this. Do you not believe in God's decree anymore? Why are you behaving like a pagan? Who gave birth to you? Malam Saleh waited for an answer. Defeated Atomicdieee said, A woman, with head bowed down. Go and take your daughter and stop this nonsense at once. I'm not requesting, I'm commanding, Malam Saleh said. That ended Atomicdieee's behavior. All went to normal, except Tele now has a new nickname, Mother of Men. We have come to the end of today's chapter. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Khadija Nasser and at Atomicdieee on Twitter, and subscribe to my podcast and YouTube channels at Atomicdieee. And also don't forget to hit the notification button so that you will be informed whenever I post a new chapter. Thank you for listening, and bye ta! Love ya!